Students, so in this video, this is the part 2 video of the chapter microorganism. So in this video we are going to discuss about the useful microorganism and the harmful microorganisms. So let us start with the useful microorganism. So as per our previous topic, so I have told you that microorganisms are very small in size and they can be useful to humankind, and yes, they can harmful to us also. So the thing is, microorganism can be useful in many ways, like in food industries, in beverages industries, in making of medicine and vaccines, in agricultural sector, and in the cleaning of environment. There is a big role of microorganisms. So different type of microorganisms are basically present in our atmosphere, in our surrounding, and these microorganisms are and can be used for various purposes in helpful nature. So let us discuss it one by one. So in food and beverages industries, the microorganisms, so we can start with the name of lactobacillus bacteria. So this bacteria, again, lacto means to say milk. It will act upon the constituent of milk, that is lactose. And yes, bacillus, again, bacillus is the shape of bacteria is rod shape. I have already told you in the previous video that rod shape bacteria are bacillus, so their name will be bacillus. So lactobacillus is rod shape bacteria which is present in the milk, and because of this bacteria it help in making the curd and yogurt. Yes, so milk can be converted into the curd with the help of this bacteria because of the acids released by and some chemical released by this bacteria. So the milk can be converted into the curd. So this curd we are using in many ways, this yogurt and curd we are using in many ways. So this can be obtained with the help of this lactobacillus bacteria. Similarly, there are some other microorganisms like yeast. So we use yeast in our many kitchen preparations. So in many recipes of flour we are using, so like making of bread, making of some items like food items like dosa, dokla, and these are the type of, so yeast are used in various food items prepared by us. And yes, yeast is also used in formation of alcohol by the process of fermentation. So remember, fermentation is a process which involved in the preparation of these food item. And yes, this fermentation is done with the help of yeast. So what is this fermentation? So fermentation is a process, so no doubt it is a process of breaking down the sugar in the absence of oxygen. So remember, sugar which is present in our food is basically acted upon by these yeast in the absence of oxygen. That you have to remember, this is the absence of oxygen, and because of this process alcohol and carbon dioxide, remember these two products are going to produce alcohol and carbon dioxide. So this is the outcome of overall process of fermentation, and because of this fermentation we will get carbon dioxide and alcohol. So what this carbon dioxide is going to do? So obviously yeast is going to produce carbon dioxide, and yes, when we are going to mix yeast in the flour, so the dough of the flour will increase into its volume because of the release of CO2. The size of dough will increase. So like this, you can see in this this is the dough, so which is increasing in volume because of the production of CO2. So that fermentation allow the for production of CO2 gas, which allow the increase in volume of the dough. Similarly, yeast is also used in the formation of alcohol, like alcoholic drinks such as beer, wine. So this is also the importance of yeast. So these are the various microorganisms which are used in the purpose of food industry and beverages industry. And yes, microorganism can be used in the purpose of manufacturing medicine. So you know very well, there is a medicine known as antibiotic and vaccine. So antibiotic is a chemical, or it is a medicine which is produced by the help of bacteria and fungus. So you know very well, in the previous video I have shown you the picture of penicillium. So penicillium is a fungus which is going to produce a bacteria killing chemical, that is penicillin. So penicillin is a antibiotic. It is an antibiotic which is derived from penicillium. Similarly, there are antibiotics like streptomycin, tetracycline, which is again, produced from the help of bacteria. So antibiotics can be produced with the help of this bacteria or with the help of these microorganisms. Similarly, we have a medicine like vaccine. So vaccine is again, it is a kind of serum which can be developed by using microbes. And yes, this vaccine can be injected in our body or can be swollen by our body, so that it can prevent us from many disease like polio, like hepatitis. So you have seen antibiotics like this, so it is available in injection and in tablets form. And you have seen vaccine also. So most of the polio drops are given to the children below 5 years, so that they can get the resistance from the virus of polio. So like this, so antibiotics, vaccines, these are the kind of medicines which we are getting from the microorganism. Nowadays also we are working upon COVID-19 vaccine, and yes, hopefully we will get the success very soon. So vaccine, if we talk about the vaccine particularly, so what it does basically in our body, so it help in increasing the immunity. Remember, when vaccine is injected, it may be injected or it may be swollen by our body with the help of mouth. Obviously it is oral investment. So yes, in this basically vaccine is inserted inside our body. It may be by the help of injection. So what it does, it basically increase the amount of antibodies. It develop the antibodies inside our body. So antibodies will be produced inside our body, and these antibodies are going to fight with the virus or with the pathogen, and yes, it will prevent our body from the disease. So antibodies are going to develop, that means immunity is going to develop inside our body with the help of vaccine. And yes, I have already told you, vaccine can be swallowed or can be injected in our body. So you have seen this kind of thing. The kids or children below 5 years are given this MPV, mild polio virus drop, so that they can be prevented from the polio disease. So normally these mild polio virus, the vaccine is having either mild form of viruses or dead form of inactive viruses strains inside this vaccine. So this is the vaccine. So this is again a use of microorganism. Yes, microorganisms are very well used in agricultural purpose also, like rhizobium. Rhizobium, I have already told you in the first chapter of crop production, that it is present in our plant, like leguminous plant like peas and pulses, in the root nodules. So this help in the fixation of nitrogen, which is available in free form, and it convert the this free nitrogen into the fixed nitrogen form, that is the nitrate form, which is soluble in nature and it can be easily absorbed by the plant for their growth. So that rhizobium is going to help. Similarly, there are algae like blue-green algae, which also do the nitrogen fixation. So it help in agricultural sector also. Yes, bacteria and microorganisms help in cleaning the environment also. Bacteria act upon the dead organic matter, and yes, because of this decomposition will take place, and yes, the organic nutrient, the organic content of the soil will increase because of their presence. So these bacteria is going to decompose the dead organic material of plant or animal, and yes, it is going to increase the nutritive value into the soil. Similarly, bacteria help in the wastewater treatment also. It helps in the reducing organic load of water body. So in treatment process, basically we use some kind of bacteria also. So that process is basically, sometimes we call it anaerobic process of treatment, and sometimes we call it aerobic process of treatment. So bacteria, either anaerobic bacteria or aerobic bacteria, can be helpful in treating the wastewater. So they are going to digest the organic content of the waste water, and they are going to reduce its organic load. Similarly, microbes like green algae help in supply of oxygen in atmosphere by the process of photosynthesis. So they are going to help in the maintenance of atmospheric condition also. Okay, moving ahead. So these were the useful effect of the microorganism. Now we are going to discuss the harmful effect of the microorganism. Remember, microorganism which can cause disease are known as pathogen or germs. So microorganism can cause disease, and it can do some other harmful effect also. So we will discuss it later on. So now the thing is the microorganism which are going to cause disease in our body. So this type of microorganism are called pathogen. So pathogen microbes and non-pathogen microbes are there. So pathogen are harmful to us and non-pathogen microbes are non-harmful to us. They are not going to harm us. So now the thing is bacteria or any other microorganism can enter in our body in many ways. So either it can transmit with the help of air, so like in common flu, like in common cold. So it can spread through air like chicken pox, like mumps, like tuberculosis. So these are the diseases which spread through air. Similarly, it can spread through contaminated water or food. So whatever food we are eating, like typhoid, if it is having the bacteria, like typhoid is caused by bacteria that is known as Salmonella typhi. So if this bacteria is present in your food item and if you are going to eat that food, so obviously you will be having this kind of disease. So better is to avoid the contaminated food. So better is to keep your food at proper place so that it cannot be contaminated. And yes, some disease like cholera, hepatitis, these disease spread through the contaminated water also. So remember, whenever we drink the water, we should prefer the water from the filtered unit or from the RO unit. Otherwise, it may cause disease like cholera also. Similarly, there are bacteria or microbes that can spread through direct contact. So like fungus, if I say. So fungus like ringworm, common cold, these disease spread through the direct contact of a person when we come in a contact of sick person, like in the case of COVID-19 also. So, and yes, it can spread through cuts and wounds which we have on our body. So like tetanus is a disease which spread through cut. So normally if iron material or iron blade, if it is rusted, so if it is going to cut our body, so with some accident, so obviously it is going to cause a problem of tetanus. So better, so you know very well, whenever we got the injury through this iron nails or rusted iron piece, so every time we have to take a dose of tetanus injection. So why? So that tetanus that is spread through bacteria, so that can be avoided. Similarly, these bacteria or microbes can be spread through the biting of insects. So remember, there are few insects which are carrier of disease, like this mosquito. So mosquito is a carrier of disease. Like this is the picture of Anopheles. So Anopheles is a carrier of disease, that is malaria. So you know very well, malaria can be spread with the this mosquito biting. Like Plasmodium vivax is the protozoa I have already told you, which is present inside the saliva of this Anopheles mosquito. And whenever this Anopheles mosquito, specifically female Anopheles mosquito, whenever it bites our body, so that saliva goes into our blood and spread the disease. And similarly, there is one more mosquito, that is Aedes, which can cause a disease of dengue. So these two diseases are very common, which spread through the this mosquito breeding. So to avoid this disease, what we have to do is to, yes, we have to maintain that kind of condition by which we can reduce the growth of these kind of mosquito. So whenever like stagnation of water is there, so we should not allow water standing in our vicinity. So this is going to control the disease like mosquito, which spread through mosquito. Okay, now if we talk about some other harmful effects, so yes, microorganism can also cause disease in animals. Remember, not only human, but it can also affect the animals also. Like disease of anthrax in animal is very common. Similarly, a disease known as foot and mouth disease. Remember, foot and mouth disease is a viral disease which can affect the cattle, specifically in the monsoon season when humidity is high. So that time this virus is very active. So foot and mouth disease can occur, yes, in the animal. Similarly, there are some disease in the plants also, like citrus canker, which is a bacteria which cause a disease in the citrus fruit. Like this in this picture you can see, this is an example of citrus canker, so which spread through the bacteria. Similarly, one disease is yellow vein mosaic virus, which affect the ladyfinger vegetable. And yes, rust of wheat, it is a fungal disease. As you can see in this picture, this is the rust of wheat. Same time, I have already shown you one disease in the chapter first, if you could remember, that was the black smut of wheat. So just go to that slide also. So that was again a fungal kind of disease. So these are the diseases which spread through microorganisms, not in human, not in animal, but in plants also. These microorganisms can cause a disease. Okay, now the thing is, I have told you that microorganism can spoil food item also. So remember, it can cause food poisoning, which may lead to serious illness. So whenever, if we are using stale food, I mean, if we are going to eat that kind of food which is having, microbes growth, so it is going to cause disease. Yes, illness can be there, and this is known as food poisoning. So bacteria, fungus, there are some other microorganisms also which can make the food item unfit for consumption. So like yeast can spoil our fruit juices also. If it is more in concentration, it can spoil our fruit juice also. So what we have to do to avoid this? So what we have to do is simple. We have to preserve our food in very specific manner. And yes, we can adopt two methods for food preservation. One is by killing the bacteria which is present in the food. So how we are going to kill the bacteria, and second is by reducing their growth. So we have two options, either by killing them completely, that means killing the bacteria, or by reducing their growth so that their growth cannot be sustained. So the first best method for this food preservation is the heating method. So nowadays there is a technique that is known as ultra heat treatment. Remember, UHT stands for ultra heat treatment, in which milk or some other milk products are heated at high temperature, maybe 135 degrees Celsius or more than the boiling temperature, for a few seconds, for a very short time. And because of that, the bacteria could not sustain this high temperature and will be killed. So next step is the pasteurization of milk. So this is very common technique of pasteurization of preservation of milk, in which we change the temperature of the milk very rapidly, very instantly. So the deep freezed milk, that is at 4 degrees Celsius, is provided the temperature of 70 degrees Celsius, sometimes 70 to 72 degrees Celsius. And at this sudden change of temperature, the bacteria could not adapt themselves and they simply die because of this change in temperature. So heating the milk at 70 degrees Celsius is the pasteurization method. And you know very well, this technique was given by the scientist that is named as Louis Pasteur, yes. And because of his name also, only this technique is named as pasteurization of milk. Okay, third method, as you can see in your slide screen, that cooling. So we can preserve our food by cooling or by deep freezing. Yes, we have to maintain the temperature of minus 18 degrees Celsius, which can be it is very easy to maintain this temperature with the help of deep freezers, minus 18 degrees Celsius. So, and yes, this will not allow the growth of bacteria. At this temperature, the bacteria will not grow. Okay, there are some other methods like chemical preservatives we can use. And yes, traditionally we are using this method at home by applying salt, by putting sugar, by putting oil and vinegar. So normally in our house we preserve the pickle by applying this salt. And yes, what salt will do, salt will reduce the water. It will take out the water from the food and from the microbe cells also, and it will kill the bacteria. So that is basically the process of osmosis. So salt is applied. Similarly, sugar can also reduce the growth of the bacteria, like jelly, like jam. So these are the way by which we can preserve the food articles. Similarly, by applying oils, by putting vinegar into the pickles, we can control the growth of bacteria. So these are preservatives basically used in kitchen. So normally in every house you will find salt, sugar and vinegar and oil. So these kind of chemical preservative. Okay, next technique is the drying or dehydration. Drying technique is used when normally in the rainy season. So what happened, the moisture, because of the moisture, sometimes microbes like fungus, like bacteria can attack our food items like dry fruits, like cereal, like pulses. So what we do, we generally put it under the sunlight so that the moisture level can be reduced, and that is basically known as dehydration process. So these are very simple technique, and we are using at our house also, so that bacterial growth or fungus growth can be controlled. Okay, now the last technique is the canning. Canning is a technique in which we do the sterilization of food cans. Basically, food is stored inside the cans made up of simple iron coated with any other material. So like this we can preserve it in the can form, and yes, by applying the UV radiation onto the cans we can kill the bacteria. So that technique is known as canning technique. So this canning allow the food to preserve for many years, or even like 6 months, more than 1 year. So we can preserve the food by the help of canning process. So this is all about the chapter of microorganism. In 2 videos we have discussed many things about the preservation, about the harmful and useful effect of microorganism, and about the type of microorganism. Hope you have got this topic very well. Any doubt you can ask me in the class. Thank you.